You are now listening to ForAllNerds Show, a podcast about geek and pop culture from the perspective of people of color. ForAllNerds is hosted by DJ Benhameen and Tatiana King Jones. ForAllNerds Show is a member of the Loudspeakers Network, where we always say rest in peace to our founder, Combat Jack.
ForAllNerds Show is powered by our listeners. Everything we do, from our podcasts, live events, our website, are all independently funded. Please continue to support us through our Patreon page at patreon.com/ForAllNerds.
Welcome to the ForAllNerds Show. And what's up, y'all? And welcome to another episode of the ForAllNerds Show, the voice of the urban geek, the podcast where we discuss geek and pop culture from the perspective of people of color. And always in the captain's chair, it's your boy Thought Pilgrim, aka Bid Fetch, aka Lionel Richie, aka the Legend of Slapper Vance, De La Troll, he who complains. Your boy Benhameen here in the spaceship tonight. And as always, I'm joined by
Tatiana King, the Grand Duchess of the Deck, also known as Flex, Luthor, Beretta Scott King, Gucci Man, DeLorean, Glorilla Grodd, Lambo Calrissian, Scroll Obsidian, Miles Tails the Prowler, Mulatto Hightower, Lord of Light Sabers, For Us by The Last of Us, The Little Mermaid, and the Ting of the North.
Wow, you just had to keep going after you're trying to, compete with my viciousness over here, but I understand.
I'm just saying ones that I don't say much, so.
True indeed. All right, well, NBA young boy never blipped again. Back again here in the spaceship tonight. And it's been a good week. How y'all doing out there? Hope everybody is living their life, enjoying themselves, catching up. We had that big episode last week where we caught you up on everything that's been going down. Shout out to Leslie over at the NMAAHC. Okay. Word up.
I like that. Boom. Do you know what that stands for?
Yes, the National Museum of African American History and Culture, baby. Come on, I'm on it. I've been in it. I've been blessed. I've been baptized.
Right.
The waters of Lake Minnetonka.
Okay.
You know it. You know it. I still can't get over that music floor. Oh my God, y'all just don't. As a black music head, it was. I mean, talk about speaking my language. Like it was everything. And shout out to my book Hendrix, which drops next July from Titan Publishing. Pre-order it now because one of the central themes that I'm not going to give away is so related to that floor of music. And it was just like, oh, this is so beautiful. I feel it in my soul. So yeah, shout out to Leslie. Shout out to the NMAAHC where we did that panel. You can hear all about it right now. You can also peep the whole panel on YouTube. We got to do we talk about these review episodes that we're going to be dropping soon. We definitely got to do one on that because, we got to repost that.
We're going to review us talking on the panel or moderating the panel. Okay.
Yes. We're going to talk about the experience, the feeling, how it was backstage, all the inside information that people don't know about. You know what I mean?
Okay. I'm with it.
Yeah. And we're also going to be doing that, if you didn't, just people we're saying right now, we're going to be bringing back some old episodes because this is our 10th anniversary year. We have been doing this for 10 years. And some of y'all are new to this, like I was talking to people, somebody hit me up like, yo, because they saw my picture with Ta-Nehisi Coates. Shout out to my brother. Shout out to HU. And they were like, yo, when you going to have Ta-Nehisi on the show? If that's your boy. And I'm like, Negro, please. We've already had him on the show twice. Dose. You know what I mean? So you got to go back. But some people don't know that because some people just started listening. It's a lot to scroll through 10 years of episodes. So they might not know that we've had Ta-Nehisi on the show twice. That we've had DJ Older on the show 4 times. Just Blaze 4-5,
Mad times.
Young Guru
1 billion times.
DMC of Run DMC. I mean, Don Will, Jean Grey, I don't know. A lot of people been on this motherfucking ship. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people, I don't even remember it these days. It's been 10 years. Tatiana didn't even know we had DMC on the show.
No, like he said that, and I'm like, what? And I Googled it, and it popped up. I wasn't there yet. I wasn't there yet.
I think you were. I think you just weren't there that night. You know,
Are you
but
sure? I don't know.
Because I know the room we
like
recorded in. But I'm pretty sure Jamie was there. Because I remember Jamie. I know Chico
was there before
there.
me.
No, Jamie and you came on the exact same episode.
The same day? Oh.
Same day. Both of y'all, you know, because I put out the call and both of y'all came through for the same episode. Because I'll never forget that. That was a moment. I know how that went down. Like, both of y'all came through. And me and Chico were both sitting there like, wow, we got 2 fucking champions joining us now. Like, these shorties know what they're doing.
Women here.
I mean, look, that was my goal. Like, shit. I was like, this is not popping, y'all. Negro-itis up in here.
That's funny. That's so funny.
Yeah, that's right. An inflammation of Negroes. It was I mean, that's what itis actually stands for, information. Yes. So it was Negroitis. And we had to cure that, you know what I mean? And now we have a diverse cast and crew of the ForAllNerds show, as it should be, you know? We are inclusion is revolution. So, you know, we got to bring back some of that to show people our history, you know what I mean? Because
I'm with it.
It's a lot.
I'm with it. Are we're time jumping now?
Yeah, man. You know, time jumping. Time keeps on slipping into the future.
How on the nose would that have been if they played that song?
I mean, it would have been about right for everything else. Every other musical drop has been on the nose.
Yeah. What are we talking about?
I guess we're gonna get right into it.
Yeah.
When I could talk about Marvel's whole, you know.
Well, I think this leads right into it. I think understanding where we are with Loki will lead right into this big conversation with Marvel.
True indeed. And all right. First of all, people on YouTube, somebody came at me. I mean, people come at me all the time. I'm used to it, you know. But someone said that I wanted answers, and I don't. Like, I also feel like a lot of people listen to me. Like, I've told you this a million times, Tatiana. I feel like people listen to me on this show. They hear one thing that I say, and they're like, let me go attack him, you know, about that one thing he said. And it's like, bro, that's like 90% of everything else I said was not that. And if you thought I wanted answers, like I want to know what the future is or, you know, what the Kang, I don't give a shit. I think people who are focused on that, that's one of the biggest problems. And I've said that multiple times on this show. I want each self-contained story to be a self-contained, worthwhile story. I have not been convinced that anything has really happened in Loki, especially as far as like character growth.
But you can't really call that a self-contained story. It's supposed to connect to everything. Like,
hold
on.
Okay.
And this is also related to the overall Marvel conversation we're going to have. But the idea that the original Marvel, or I don't want to say Marvel idea, but the original corporate idea that there will never not be some Marvel something happening at any one time, right? They said if there's no movie, there's going to be a TV show. If there ain't no TV show, it's going to be a special. If there ain't no special, going to be a movie. Remember that.
Yep.
Remember that.
Yeah.
So as far as throwing any fucking thing at the wall and making sure that just Marvel's name stay in the room, even if good or bad, I think that, and this is all supposed to connect, right? Technically, all is supposed to connect. The shows to the film to all this other stuff. So self-contained in the manner of that's about that character, sure, but not really self-contained within the manner of the entire universe of the MCU.
But I think that, all right, I think Marvel has learned, one, that they don't, just because it's in the MCU doesn't mean it has to like immediately relate, right? Like,
it doesn't have to be obvious. Well,
yeah, or even like have a chance, really. Like there's ways that they're gonna make Werewolf by Night relate in the long run if they want.
That was very boring to me, by the way. So
I loved it.
See,
that's what I'm saying. Okay, I loved it, but it was like different strokes for different folks, and I think that's why I love Werewolf by Night, because it took chances and it was different strokes for different folks, and it really, unless they wanted to later on, it doesn't matter. None of the characters have to show up in the Avengers.
Sure,
you know,
but they're not flagship marquee characters either.
But okay, see, here's another one, and this goes into that Marvel conversation later when they're talking about bringing back Tony Stark and shit. I'm like, nigga, what? Y'all act like Tony Stark was motherfucking marquee. Like,
not at first.
To all y'all MCU heads, he is, because of course, you know, Robert Downey Jr. But for anyone who was before that, this nigga was sea level. Like, he's part of the Avengers, sure, but Iron Man is not the premier comic book. Like, the premier seller of Marvel comics has always been the X-Men, and then
And that's what
behind
they're
them
gonna
might
have
be
to lean on now.
Spider-Man, and yeah, then I think Avengers,
But
it's
that's
like,
literally what they're gonna have to lean on now. X-Men is like, if you believe in all the doom and gloom talk, X-Men is now the only hope right now.
yeah, and I don't believe that at all.
Talk, but
I don't believe that talk at all. It's silly talk to me, because it's like they had Iron Man and made a superstar out of him. They had Thor and made a Thor. When you talk about like C-level fucking characters, like, that man's book was struggle unless Walt Simonson was on it. Like, it was struggle for years. So, and then after the MCU, it's all kind of hot dope shit came up. But I'm talking about, like, before that, it was struggle. His book wasn't popping. Captain America's book wasn't popping like that. None of these characters' books were popping. X-Men was popping. But Marvel couldn't use X-Men. They couldn't use Spider-Man. So they started the MCU with these characters they did not want to start with. So they can take, if what they need is a good story. What they need is good writers. That's why, they pay people finally. Yes. Now maybe we might see the effect, because now they can get some talent in there who's going to want to really work and really get paid for it. So hopefully, the writing is going to get to where it needs to go. And hopefully the slowdown will make them, like, that's my issue with Loki. It's not about answers. My issue with Loki is I feel like Fahey or someone said, all right, this is what we need from you. We need, at the end of this, we need the Kangs to pop up. Beyond that,
it's on you, bro.
It's on you, but it's like, not only is it just on you, it's also, we don't need too much else to happen. But I'd also feel like I have to blame the people behind Loki, because I feel like they probably told the same thing to Kate Herron, and I feel like she did more with that, and I feel like certain people have done more with like the holding pattern of these shows,
Yeah.
Because you can still tell a dope story. You can still have characters that make you care and want to see their journey. And in the second season of Loki, I have not seen that. I've seen these characters get restarted episode after episode.
Right. Like literal reboots of their comic book counterparts. Just, on the counter, like, you could die in the comic, you come back the next issue. Literally, I saw that happen over and over and over again. And it's like, it's lost its shine. I don't know. Like,
I mean,
you can't keep
seeing
playing
people
that
get faded. Yeah.
Like, now you're doing the Infinity Fade just with Linguini. Like, okay, like, all right, that it's disturbing. I will say that it's not my favorite thing to look at, but
no,
it is, like, it makes me feel
seeing
B50, I get it.
B50, whatever B15 scream was pretty horrifying.
I don't, but like, I don't know. Like, I want to just real quick just mention that about season 1 of Loki, because I will say that fulfilled that idea of, like, it's almost being the show's being a holding pattern to lead to keep you satiated until the next film, right? But you can still have a compelling story. And when you look at season 1 on its own, that was an incredibly compelling story that, if you took it out the timeline, it wouldn't necessarily disturb movies around it, right? Or the next movie's coming out, right? Like, I think, and I'm not saying take it out in a negative way. I'm just saying that it was able to, in what you were talking about earlier, tell its own story in its own contained space, and also still fulfill both ends of the bargain, right? Like,
set up the next.
Yeah.
And it also, I think, like, I'm wondering, I love Kate and everything, and I love, the season 1, but I'm like, were we fooled there too? Like,
fooled in what way? Like, what were you lied about, and what were you fooled about? Like, that's what I'm saying. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, you can't fool me again. Okay, like, what are you doing?
And you want to be fooled by a storyteller, but like the problem with Loki, well, not the problem, is like, one thing that has grown with it in season 2 is, like, even to me in season 2, it's every episode has been highly entertaining, because Tom Hiddleston and the rest of the cast are fucking amazing. And the little bit they give Shorty, who's playing Sylvie this season, she eats it alive. And it makes me, like, miss her and care for her. But it's like, at the same time, every episode has been a reboot. Okay, everybody died at the end of the last episode. Everybody dies at the end of this episode. They're all back together again, finally.
I think the show is a very literal manifestation of the idea of time folding in on itself, of the Mobius strip, of the Ouroboros. Like all of it is like super on the nose. The whole thing is a conundrum and a parallel and what's the other word I'm looking for?
It's looping in on itself, yeah.
Yeah, like
paradox.
Paradox, thank you. Like I get it. I kind of got it the first time around, and then like now in episode 4, like you like get it. I don't know, like it was entertaining, but I'm just like, damn, where the hell are we going right now? And we said this. They said there's no way all these niggas is gonna die and that be the end of it. Man's literally found a way to control his time slipping to go back to right before Victor Timely runs out the door with the alleged thing to fix the loom.
So he's gonna run out the door now and somehow not die?
Are they gonna change something else? Are they not gonna do that whatsoever? Like,
well, he said I write it, and there's some interesting stuff being played with here. Like one of my favorite comic books, Planetary, had a whole issue dedicated to it, and a lot of it is about that. And even Stephen King, a lot of writers talk about this meta-ness about writing and about, is like, are we, and it's something me and you were just talking about before the show, is like, we write our own realities, we create our own story, we tell a story and the story becomes real. And that's like, something that storytellers deal with, and, people who imagine their lives deal with, and just, there's some interesting stuff being played with on the edges.
Yes.
But I don't feel like it's really like when, Ouroboros is dying and he's like, it was a fictional problem. And then, what's his name realized that he needs to write his own story and be the hero of his own story, I guess.
Come on, man. It's on the nose.
But then, and then there's like the goofiness of it. Like, this wasn't this episode, but when Loki and Sylvie are having that conversation, he's like, we try to hope, Sylvie. And like, it's like, we got to hope the cops get better, because basically that's what he's saying, because the TVA are a bunch of cops, and he's basically saying, I got to hope the police get better. And it's like, that doesn't work, fam. Sylvie's
12.
right. Like, Sylvie's dead ass right. Like, the TVA is not going to work. And you knew that before. I don't know, everyone's motivations this season, I'm just not understanding.
Well, Loki expresses motivations. He wants his friends back.
But
he wants to belong, and he wants his friends back.
But
he wants someplace to call his own.
So, I mean, but what about your brother?
My brother.
Thor.
Which Loki is this?
One who has a live brother.
Okay. That he fucks with? That he cares about? That has anything to do with anything happening in this series?
No. I mean, I get it. So he wants Sylvie and all them, but like, one, that Casey, that Mobius, that ain't the right one. This some dude who don't know shit about the TVA. You gonna take these niggas who ain't, like, you gonna take this thief to try and save the world now? Like these ain't the dudes.
So is it going to be Loki that creates the TVA in the end?
No,
is it going to be images of him in statues and on the walls and everything else?
I mean, but how? Kang, look.
I don't know.
Going back to this whole Marvel thing that we're going to talk about, they say that, people who've seen the final episode are like, they locked into this Jonathan Major shit, fam. Like,
But also, they say that in the context of the multiverse, like as if the multiverse doesn't exist, as if they have not been using this as just as the Deus Ex Machina.
But what I'm saying,
this changes everything.
So far, they're locked in. Like,
sure, but you can change it. But Ben,
Ravonna ain't showing up as Kang in the last episode. Is what I'm saying.
Sure. Who cares? Regardless of how this goes, it does not necessarily affect everything else that's happening in the MCU right now. Like, they've literally sitting there on edge to fucking rewrite the next 4 years. I'm really thinking that's where they are right now.
I believe it.
If need be, because when you make billions upon billions of dollars, even when your failed quote unquote movie still makes damn near $1 billion, you can do shit like say, let's rewrite the next fucking phase. Or rearrange things, and maybe not even rewrite. Maybe they just rearrange things. That's also something that was talked about in that article about, well, they might flip around. And that's another thing. When I read through the article, I realized a lot of this article is just hearsay.
Bullshit.
And it's hearsay. A lot of it is just BS. And it's like, well, someone told me, my homegirl said in the Bella Noches, and it's just like, but nigga, did anyone who actually makes the decision say something? Well, I heard homegirl got fired because it's like a big episode of Mean Girls. And I'm like, wait a minute.
And the worst part
What's
is like
going
this one Variety article that we're talking about has now spawned, like, I mean,
The
we're
Verge has
talking
an
about
article.
it. Like, everyone has an article. And
I mean,
it's all
it did what it was supposed
hearsay.
to do. It did what it was supposed to do, which was to have the media and everyone in media talking
We
about
just
it.
need to
and
start
the
doing
public.
that. We should just start doing that. Like, we should be
Just
like,
start making up wild shit.
this is what we heard, yo.
Just be
Yeah,
comicbook.com.
Yo,
This
fam.
is what I heard.
Yeah, they about to bring High Evolutionary back. Word up. Kang out of here, fam.
This is why we think it's happening, because
people are saying.
The person, right?
Many people are saying.
The paninis to the office of the person who does the fucking script delivery told me.
Everybody's talking about this.
I know. And I want to talk about it, because my thing is, I do want to talk about it, but I also want to talk about how weird it is. It's just like, and also,
I'm just saying, everybody's talking about High Evolutionary coming back. You haven't heard that? Like, everybody's been talking about it.
Shut up, Benhameen. Just shut up.
Many people are saying High Evolutionary.
But yeah, man, like, like I said, I just wanted to make that point that none of like, maybe there's one or two things that are of fact, but everything else is just like, so I heard, and this is what the streets is saying. And it's like, all right, I'm sure there's some merit, some water being held somewhere, but what about the rest? And the timing is odd. I mean, they talked a lot about the whole thing with the Marvels and how they're like, oh, I don't know. Like, they're basically writing it off before it even happens in the next, week or two. And I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? Because it's like, it's just the way it was just dropped down into the media sphere, and the media is like, negativity, spread it. I'm just like, what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, even the big one that was really hilarious in that article was when they were talking about how, we can get back to Loki, but how
we're still talking about it. Keep going.
Yeah, and how in the article they were talking about how Blade almost turned, female centric and all this. It was just like, let's drum up the hate, let's drum it up.
This is what I'm saying. I'm going to
stir that pot.
I'm going to find this tweet because it doesn't make sense. Okay?
Stir it up.
So they're talking about, and again, I'm just quoting from the article, not from facts. Someone told me that at this stage that Blade is the fourth lead in his own movie and this and that. Michael Starbury, who was one of the fucking writers on it, at least at one point, was just like, and he was on it till late in the game. He was just like, no point in time was any script that I worked on was he ever a fourth lead, or what they said, they tried to say like it was like feminist focus or some weird shit that they were talking about. I'm like, where do y'all come up with this?
Because the Blade does have a daughter now in the comic books, and there was word that she would be introduced in the movie.
He had a daughter when Wesley Snipes was doing it. What do you mean? Like, what? What?
Because people loved it. It's just like you were saying, like how the Marvels is getting all this like, oh, it's gotta be trash, oh, it's gonna be fail, because there, sadly to this day, there is still that side. Like, I saw tweets where people were celebrating all the good stuff that was happening with Marvel, but then in the same tweet being like, oh yeah, and the Marvels is crashing to the ground. So it's like they're happy because, the male centric shit is getting pushed up, and then, Marvels is crashing.
Then y'all sound stupid, and y'all sound, this is your you're doing the same pattern that's always happening. You're doing the, oh gosh.
Go woke, get broke type shit. It's that dumb shit.
I feel like Mobius strip. I feel like a Mobius strip. This is happening again. When did this happen before? It happened before with She-Hulk. When did this happen before? It happened before with the first Miss Marvel. When did this happen before? Like every fucking
Black
time.
Panther, Wakanda Forever.
It's sad.
It's sad, and it really is. And it's like, I really don't have the energy to give to it. But it's one of those things, like, to me, like, it's like my battle against the word content, where I'm just like, oh my God, I'm not going to win this one. Or like the your boy Kai Cenat, doing a jail stream, and I'm just like, but it's like, 250K viewers. So it's like, it's not me. It must be the children. Like, what the fuck?
It must be the children.
It's like, I don't. I must be wrong, right? Like, as someone who's been to prison, I must be
Like
the idiot
actual
here.
prison.
Yeah, like actual prison, where we didn't have porn stars in the prison, playing security guards. It's like, I must be wrong, right? But it feels like sometimes, when you're just battling against a sea of ignorance, and the ignorance is making all the money in the world and is getting all the attention in the world. So, it's like, maybe we should start doing jail streams. I don't know, Like,
Oh my God.
maybe we should hate on the Marvels, Oh, that shit's gonna suck. Like, oh, Marvel, or like, we got to do the video. Like, I saw the critical fucking drinker, another, whatever dick. I saw his video today. The Marvel is falling apart. It's like, now everybody's making that video, We don't have that video. That's our problem. Our shit is. But when I do say, hey, this show could be better. What are you talking about, Benhameen? But I've said that before. We got to start, I got to go all in on my slander. I can't be like actually appreciating things and constructively criticizing them. I just try to be like, fucking Loki's the worst show ever, bro.
Fucking Loki, man.
But that's never how I feel, and that's never how we talk on here. So it's just, but people seem to think, when you constructively criticize something, it's like you're just hating.
I don't know, man. I don't know. This whole thing is like super bizarre to me, and I mean, it's always good to jump on like negative bandwagons, right? And also maybe we are gonna have a disaster, but like, it's just weird, or maybe it's gonna be great, but also it's just weird just how it's being formed right now. It's very odd to me.
It's like people had like there weren't terrible, like, the first 3 phases of the MCU was just perfection, because it wasn't. There was a lot of mess.
There was some mess.
Someone even said, why can't, Ben, you're complaining why, about you want to wait for, why can't you wait for Kang like you waited for Thanos? And I'm like, we didn't really wait for Thanos. Like,
we didn't know Thanos was coming. Or maybe people will say you did know.
No, you
but
did
after
know,
a while.
But Thanos never appeared. We've already had more Kang than we ever had a Thanos before Infinity War.
This is facts.
We had a whole movie with Kang as the villain.
This is facts.
And that was my problem. I felt like they played Kang as the villain in Ant-Man.
They nerfed him so damn bad.
Where it doesn't matter. Someone said it best that the million Kangs, the only way they win is through a war of attrition, because they get served one-on-one. Thanos, if you got a million Thanos, is fucked. It's over.
Nah, you're fucked.
Yeah, you're fucked. Even without the Infinity Gauntlet, a million of them niggas is.
He's a titan at the end of the day.
Yeah, they slapping your ass around, a million of them cats. So but a million Kangs doesn't feel like a threat at all. And they haven't made him feel like a threat. And now we've got more time with him. And even though I really enjoy Victor Timely, I don't.
One Kang got carted off by a fucking red ant.
I'm still wondering how they're going to connect those million Kangs we saw with the Kang who was imprisoned in Ant-Man, with Victor Timely, with the Kangs being unleashed at the end of last season, and they still haven't shown up yet. But I don't know how they're gonna net that. And when people say, "Oh, you just want the answers," no, I don't. I just don't.
You don't see where it's happening.
Yeah, I don't see.
But we're gonna find out. There's 2 more episodes. No, there's one more episode. Sorry, and apologies. Earlier I said episode 4. This was episode 5. That's how messed up in time I am right now.
I mean, it's weird because, like, last episode literally ended with them all getting erased. This episode ended with
literally bring it back.
Getting them all erased, and then him bringing it back.
They got erased twice.
Yeah, so now he's bringing it back to right before they got erased the first time.
You got Linguini twice.
So that means this whole episode, and I can't. All right, there were some moments. Like, I really liked, Sylvie in the bar with Loki when she was like, "Nigga, get over yourself." I really enjoyed that. But then 5 minutes later, Sylvie's like, "Oh no, the world's destroying, so fuck getting over myself." But you knew the world was destroying before. What did you think was gonna happen?
She really, this written version of her thought shit was sweet.
Nigga, your McDonald's just vanished from your face 5 minutes before you got in the car with him. Where did you thought getting a drink was gonna fix that?
That McDonald's hadn't vanished yet. What you
No,
mean?
it did. Remember? Okay, she comes out the car. I mean, she comes out of McDonald's, puts her shit on the truck. It vanishes. She's like, "Oh, that's weird." Loki appears behind her.
Oh, well, we saw it vanish through that rearview mirror. Did she see
turns
it?
around. She
She
turns
turned
around
because she felt Loki.
No, she turns around and looks
Or
for her
heard it.
McDonald's and recognizes that it's gone. And remember, she knows what's happening.
Are
So
you
she-
sure? I don't
yes.
remember McDonald's being gone because it was the
It's
reason why.
street and linguinis. The McDonald's linguinis.
Are you sure?
Yes.
The reason why I asked is because I swear on that scene when Loki appeared out the time door that he was standing in front of the McDonald's. That was his background.
She walked out of McDonald's, puts her shit on the truck.
Yeah.
He appears behind her. But before he appears, the McDonald's linguini, she sees it and then turns around to see him and is like, "Look, I already know what's going on, dog. Let's get a drink." So she already knew the world was going to linguini.
I must have blacked out because I don't remember that.
Yes,
I
but
thought
she
the
already-
McDonald's was intact.
No, the McDonald's linguinis. And then so she sees the linguini because she turns around looking for a fucking McDonald's and it's gone. But she knows, when it's gone, she knows what happened. She's like, "Oh shit, it linguini. We're fucked. But let me go get a drink and act like we're not fucked. And then let me go back to, listen to some music like we're not fucked. To this on the nose song telling me we have nothing." And then my man just tries to outrun the linguini. And it's like, what do you think you are, black dude? Like, no, you run a music store.
You're Italian wedding soup now.
You're not the hero of the story, fam. You're out of here, bro. You're gonna turn the linguini. Like,
I don't know.
yeah, it was an entertaining episode, as all of them have been. And yet, after 5 episodes, I still feel like we're pretty much at the end of where we were at the end of maybe episode 1.
I'm still like, damn, how they pruned Ravonna. Like, it was so unceremonious. It was like, bow, you're going. I was like, God damn. After all that.
All right, the thing is, when she got pruned during episode 4, this is what I thought was going to happen. I'm not sure if I said that last week. I thought she would come tumbling onto the bridge when He Who Remains ran out there. Because that's what happened to Loki. When Loki pruned
but
himself,
she wasn't time slipping. He pruned himself because he was time slipping, and that was the reasoning.
Well, he got me there. So I guess she just did.
That's what I said. Like, wait.
No, that's what I mean. I was like, because the moment she got pruned, I was like, oh, well, that was unceremonious. But, she'll be back 5 minutes later. And then when she didn't come back, I was like, well, that was trifling.
Everybody came back for her, son. Like,
I guess she wasn't part of the squad like that. Her temporal Aurora didn't need it. What the fuck? Yeah, I swear to God, dog, they just make up shit on this season. Like, every episode, it's like, oh, the loom's the problem now. Temporal Aura's the problem now.
Well, we're writing this out. Like,
these niggas got MacGuffins after MacGuffins.
It is. And that's the thing. It's just like, we can still enjoy this show for the entertainment aspect, but it also be like, yo, what the fuck? Like,
nigga, that niggas introduced that niggas kids for them niggas to get linguini.
And I was just like, who's these badass kids? Like,
them
these
niggas was assholes too. Yeah,
you see how he ran away? That one kid, he was just like,
nigga said, where you get the matches from?
You're a felon.
Over here playing with matches. It's like, you know what level of badass you are when you are playing with matches.
Like, you're bad. And then it's not just he was playing with matches. He said he stole them.
Yeah, and he set his G.I. Joes on fire.
And then, but Mobius.
I mean, I straight up tried to blow my G.I.
Well,
Joes.
Don is his timeline name. Was talking about how the wife left them. So I said, whoa, the wife left you and the kids behind.
I mean, this nigga's a bum ass Steejet salesman. Like, you leave his ass.
Steedo.
Yeah, Steedo. This nigga can't even sell one of them shits to a nigga. Niggas just coming here for donuts. Look, I mean,
but also he was selling it in the year 2022.
All right, there's a lot. There's some
they
other
buying
shit
it like that, and that's not. Can we talk about really like the timelines in which they were placed and plucked out of?
Yes, and how these niggas is all struggle.
Why was Casey? So Casey was in Alcatraz, and it was the 60s or something.
I don't know. They really did. Shout out to the movie Clint Eastwood's Escape from Alcatraz. So they did a shot from it where immediately I knew they were in Alcatraz before it even said it, just because
I knew they was in Alcatraz. Too.
Yeah, the shot of them going through the pipes is from Escape from Alcatraz. So
okay. Well, that's a nice Easter egg.
I'm pretty sure it had to be.
It looks similar, if anything. I mean, I just the way it was, I knew right away. I'm like, these jail. So
I knew jail, but it was like that's Alcatraz,
big jail, but big jail.
Yeah, I was
specific
like,
jail.
Alcatraz.
They had the whole, at least kind of sort of, they had the whole noir feel. And typically when I see jail noir, I'm like Alcatraz. So.
Alcatraz.
You ain't thinking upstate, like
you see yellow, it's Mexico. You know.
Okay, Wumi Masako. I'm talking about her. That's a real name, but
only some people are gonna get that racism reference I just made.
I know. B-15. She was in 2012, if I'm not mistaken, and she was a doctor.
She was the only one who was living a good life.
I'm gonna say a PD. What is it?
Pediatrician.
What's the word? Pediatrician. Thank you. I don't know why I can't speak English, but a pediatrician. And I mean, I was just like, damn, y'all ripped her away from me and a doctor. We ain't got enough black doctors.
And let's speak on that because, okay, this is the thing. Sylvie, once again, is 100% correct. The TVA stole these niggas from these timelines.
This is weird.
We're all brainwashed to be put into this life. So, no, Mobius Don, that is his fucked up life, but those are his kids. You taking him away from this fucked up life of his to make him a time cop is really some wild shit because you're lonely. Like, somebody needs to tell Loki about himself like Gamora told Star-Lord about himself in Guardians 3. Because, you know, somebody really needs to be like, what is your fucking damage where you need me around?
Well.
Because that's the problem. Like, Sylvie didn't say that enough in this episode. You know?
Well, how are you gonna be the guy when he's down? He's clearly down bad. So like she don't hate the nigga. Why she gotta be
because you're on him like being down bad and then you're ruining other people's lives by being down bad. Like, dude had kids. And it's like at the end of it, it seems to be him saying, no, I need to save the universe, which it was all along, bro. You're the hero of this story.
And also
it ain't these other people, it ain't Casey.
You mentioning that just made me remember a question I had for you because I wanted to ask you, why does Don and why are you able to see him basically his, like when Loki took him from his timeline, how was Don able to see himself through the timeline? Like, I thought that was only really reserved for, and I could be wrong. I mean, someone explain, but I thought that was only reserved for Loki. Like, because the only person we've been seeing see themselves over and over again has been Loki. So then why, when Loki was like, oh, Don, your kids will be, Don rightfully says, I can't leave my fucking kids behind. They're fucking badasses who's going to jail.
And Don is still there.
And then now he's still there. And I'm like, wait, when did that happen? Like, I just felt like that frustrated me. I'm not going to hold you because, again, maybe I missed something, but I just didn't understand how
I might have missed something there.
Applied to him.
That just felt like them trying to make it where Don could go on this adventure.
Yeah.
And it was like, that don't make no sense.
If that was the case, I'm like, that makes no sense. That was never established for
y'all
other characters.
Y'all should have spaghettied his kids right in front of him right then and be like, this universe is done.
Well, and that goes back to what I had said a couple of weeks ago, which was I'm sorry to use children, but if y'all had spaghettied families, maybe I would have felt a way when the timelines were being destroyed and B-15 was crying, talking about billions is dying. I was just like, it looks like a line on
spaghetti Don's badass kids right in front of him right there. That would have been awesome.
Would have been scary. And I don't like harm being done to children, fictional or not. It's just like, even if it was implied. If it was implied, like, didn't they imply young people like being infinity faded, potpourri? So I just feel like something towards that effect. Like you said, a family going around the corner, then you just see a bunch of spaghetti. I don't know. I don't know, but I just wanted to ask you that because I wasn't sure where I missed that train of the person being able to see themselves. I thought that was really just Loki.
That's really not giving Don the character a choice, though, but it would have been great if they'd been like, no, you got to do this. He's like, no, I got to save my family.
Speaking of choice, that speech Loki gave back to Sylvie about wanting to give people choice was bullshit.
Yes. Like, Loki's speeches have been bullshit throughout this
He was double speaking. Like, I was just like, Loki, this don't make sense what you're saying. I got to put them back so they can see what their life was before they was in their timeline.
No.
So they have the choice. What are you talking about? There's no choice. You are making it for them. You are literally actioning and affecting everything.
she said it best. She's like, dude, you are making them see something they can't unsee. That's not giving a person a choice. That's the Matrix again. It's like, do you want to take this? Do you want to go back to eating your steak, or do now that you've seen the steak is fake?
And I was gonna say, technically, someone could say, well, when he popped up with the time door for the third time or second time for some people, like, and said, hey, come with me if you want to live.
Yep.
Maybe that was a choice that they could have made. They could have been like, fuck you, cracker, and then kept it pushing, right? Or they could have, did what they did, which was keep going. And I'm just like, but would they really have a choice? Like, to what Silver's point says, once you show somebody some shit like that,
when
for example, if that shit happened to you, like if that happened to you, would you be like, nah, I'm good?
If a nigga comes out of the blue with a time door, I might be like, nah, I'm good. But at the same time, I'm be like, yo, that's some shit I ain't never seen in my life.
You would keep staying curious about it and start searching.
Yeah, because I'd never be able to leave that down. A nigga opened Tom Hiddleston suddenly fucking appeared in my womb. And then it was like, nah, I'm good. And I'm like, nah, I'm good. And he stepped back into this energy door and vanished. Nigga, for the rest of my life, I think I was insane. So I'd have to go through that door.
You think you're insane, yeah.
Yeah, so I'd be like, fuck it, I'm crazy right now. I'm going through this door just because I'm already crazy. Or this is a dream. I'm going through the door. Because there ain't no way this is really happening.
Could you imagine if a time door opened like on a platform in a subway station here in New York? Honestly, a lot of us would be like, you know what? Yeah, nothing to do with me today.
Yeah,
like,
you would leave it alone.
You just keep it pushing. You would leave it alone.
In public, you would leave it alone. Because you'd be like, other people saw this shit. But in private, you wouldn't be able to leave it alone. Because you'd be like, no, I'm going insane. So I have to go through this. This is a dream. All those type things would start fucking with you. And that's what he did to these people. He brought them, pretty much private or like, Casey's on the... But like Casey's sitting there just out of prison on the beach and this nigga's open, it's like, and it's the second time you see him. What are you going to do? Like, you're going to go through it. He's not.
Well, Casey got nothing to lose. He's a fucking criminal.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
I don't know what he got put up for, but he's doing criminal shit even when he gets to that.
And he's still thinking horrible criminal shit.
And he's still talking about getting to the bank, which is weird. I'm just like, okay.
Like out of everything, bro, you can just go to a beach.
It's like, and it was just weird also because this is like, when did they telegraph that Casey was, a jailbird? Like, you could sit here and say they telegraphed B-15 to be the type of person who wants to help people all the time. Okay.
I guess Casey because
Doctor makes sense. Don, literally Mobius from season 1 was talking about fucking jet skis. Okay, got it.
I mean, Casey had everything in his desk. He's a klepto because he had all the shit in his desk. He
wasn't taking it like stealing it. What do you mean? I thought literally he was confiscating from the people he was supposed to confiscate from and put it in a desk.
This feels like a lot of season 2 feels like, the wrong extrapolation, like it feels like this is
the wrong extrapolation, yeah.
Extrapolation. Yeah.
We didn't talk about OB though. So OB was the closest to who he is now. Like I said, they try to be cute with the whole, I am a best-selling writer. You know what I mean? Like, because, with the whole TVA handbook, whatever. He came from 94. He was plucked out in 1994. I wanted to talk really quick about and I guess it doesn't matter. This is science fiction, as he says.
Right?
I don't know. He was married. He was definitely married because he claims later
divorced.
His wife left. Well, not even divorced. He says his wife left him. So because he spent 18 months building a time pad. And yes, it was cute the way they made it very 90s with the giant modules and all that other stuff. But they had the tech in 94 to do that?
I mean, he's a genius.
Okay.
He's MacGyver. He can make that shit out of a banana and a paperclip.
Okay.
Given enough time. What's his name? I mean, it's same. And it's funny because I didn't even catch the reference. He's basically Rick and Morty, who he's the Doc from Back to the Future. Because they even made a reference in the last episode. I completely forgot this, but it's a direct reference to Back to the Future when he brings out the whole model and shows them the models like, sorry, I only have one coat of paint and things aren't built to scale.
That's a reference from Back to the
Doc
Future?
Shows when he tells Marty the whole plan to drive the car and have the lightning bolt hit the thing, he pulls off a sheet and has a whole model of the town and says, sorry, it's not built to scale and I didn't have time to put a coat of paint on it.
Well, that's
So
clever.
yeah, so that was a direct reference. So he's basically that type of level of genius. Is
Okay, so
like how Doc built a time machine in a DeLorean in '88, right? '86, I think. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it's supposed to be that type of level. So yeah, I don't mind that. It's just it is what it is. It took him 18 months, 19. Now I love him, so he was hilarious throughout this episode. But again, that wasn't his life, and you're turning him into a time cop, and that was also interesting.
Well, he's the mechanic behind the time cop.
Wherever they were was his same office.
Whatever he was
the
yes, that I noticed that it
and
was
he's like,
literally
there's
that
nothing
same
for
place.
miles around because they built miles around him.
Mm-hmm.
The whole TVA gets built around him. So yeah, I get all that. Womp, womp, womp. That's cute. Look, I said it from early. I just feel like this show is going to end with a bunch of Kangs appearing, and I'm supposed to care.
They just should not have done what they've done in Ant-Man 3. That was a mistake.
That was the mistake.
That was the mistake. That was the initial mistake.
If you hadn't done that, I would really be hyped when a bunch of Kangs appeared at the end of this.
Yeah. Even if everything
I feel like they should have appeared in episode 1 and not episode 6, I would have been much more hyped if I hadn't seen this man get served by a bunch of ants.
That correct. And that also leads to the elephant in the room about what happens with this Kang character, what's happening with Jonathan Majors. He is going to trial this month. This is November. I don't know when you guys are listening to this, but this is November 2023. Welcome to the time slip. But he's going to trial this month for the case, right? And there's so much stuff that has.
I would have never expected Terrence Howard to replace him as Kang. Sorry, that was the time slip.
Talk about the multiverse.
That's me, reporter for the future.
Yeah. You can be anybody you want to be in the MCU. A lot of
people have been saying Terrence Howard is going to replace Jonathan Majors.
Same man. Same man.
Same man. I'm back, man.
I'm back, man.
That's just what
Kang
I've
the Conqueror,
heard.
man.
Somebody who serves lunch at the Marvel cafeteria told me that, they were talking about Terrence Howard to replace Jonathan Majors. I've got a lot of sources.
I'm sure you do. Lunch lady is a no, but yeah, I don't know. I'm rightfully confused. Still entertained by things like Loki, but also just like I just have so many questions, and again, I just don't like this whole I guess scenario right now that's being painted, or this thing that's being painted that I get, we talked about, I feel like every few years it's happened, and it happened 10 years ago or 5 years ago when they were like, oh, superhero fatigue and blah, 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 blah. Then, then Marvel and I almost said Disney, but Marvel and DC did some good things, right? So I'm just like, is this almost superhero fatigue, or it's just like poor storytelling fatigue?
Yeah. Which is all, that's, with any genre. And people had and even in the same article, they mentioned Guardians of the Galaxy made $1 billion and was, well received. Everyone loved it. Yeah. Across the Spider-Verse, of course, we already know.
But this is the other part why I always say, some of this media coverage is bullshit, because I'm like, that. So remember how you just said this Variety article spawned other people to talk and give their 2 cents. Fine. The Verge posted something, I think it was today, they posted something where they used the image of Guardians of the Galaxy as the thumbnail and said, what is Marvel down? They didn't say Marvel down bag. We talk like that. Hold on. Let me see. What exactly did they say? They said,
Is it over?
Is it over? Some shit like that. I'm scrolling up right now. In Marvel, we no longer trust.
With Guardians of the Galaxy.
With the Guardians, with a picture of Nebula holding the life model of Peter Quill. And I'm just like,
man, I love that movie. I watched it again.
Oh, it was fantastic. But I'm like, why would you use a successful movie to then say?
Because it gets people clicking. They're like, no, I love that movie. What are you talking about? Click. It's all it takes, bro. It's it's.
And then the caption under the picture is, "The Guardians once guaranteed a good time." Technically they still do. So what are you talking about?
But no, now they don't, because there's no more Guardians, and James Gunn is over there at DC. So what is it? There's nobody else who can write a movie.
Listen, suspicious. All this is a bit suspicious. And then also, just I guess as we close this out, this conversation is just about Marvel and this whole article. It's just like, the things I'm like, yo, is this actually confirmed? Like they said how Nia DaCosta, how like they said that she and when the thing was still in post production that she basically stepped away to start her new movie. That might
Yeah,
be
I mean
true.
that seems confirmed. That nobody was
Okay.
denying that one. That was more like, yeah,
That
that
was more
happened.
like that happened. Okay. And
Yeah.
again, I from everything I've read and from people who are actually close in the industry, there's like that's not ever a good thing.
No, it's
So,
not. No, it's not at all.
but it
Eh,
also is it based on things that were out of her control because they said
Yeah,
this
and
had
who
a lot of
knows?
rewrites and they had 4 weeks of
Yeah.
reshoots.
Who knows if they took it out of her hands by that point? Like I love Nia, and I think that everyone deserves. Like I think Nia is definitely doing what a lot of white men do in this
Yeah,
industry. It's like
I
where
think,
they do a small little movie and then they get these big movies, and a lot of times the results ain't what we wanted. Like
and
Colin
it's like,
Trevorrow did it with Jurassic. I loved his little small independent movie, and then
mhm,
them Jurassic movies are trash. But he got the chance, so why shouldn't Nia get the chance to do the same thing? And now
right.
she doing her new joint with Tesla, and I'm sure that should be because that's who did her first movie, and
Mm,
so I'm sure that's
hmm.
back to what she should be doing, or what she
Has
wants to be doing.
has this been sensationalized like this in other movies before? Because like now I'm kind of weirded out, like they even blaming Nia, like whether like even mentioning her, like saying, oh, yo, even she walked away from this shit and she's not
Yes,
even part
that
of trying to
happens.
help.
Like you gotta
That
remember,
happens normally, right? I mean,
like
people talk about it.
Colin Trevorrow is a great example. That man
Okay.
had a Star Wars movie on the way, and then when Jurassic World, no, it wasn't even Jurassic. He had this other film that was like his because he did Jurassic, and then he was like, "Let me do what I want to do," and they're like, "Yeah, do whatever you want." So he did this
Mm,
other movie, and it flopped out the fuck. And they were like, "Oh well, Star Wars, zoink," And so that was like, that
okay.
was known. This movie flopped, so they zoinked Star Wars from him, and it was a big thing. So it's not just her. People, when
Okay.
you hot, and when you ain't, they gonna give it to you. And that's the problem right now. Marvel's is trending towards not hot, so they gonna give her the business. And that's just how the business goes. Now we're gonna see it next week, and we'll be here to talk about it. And I'm hoping for the best because, god damn it, I love me some Monica, and I love me some Miss Marvel, and I even love me some Brie Larson and everything. So I'm hoping, but I've not heard. And the decision to hold the embargo until the last minute when I really don't think this is going to be that impactful on the huge Marvel universe,
Like you said,
that scares me.
we've been in the game for this long and
Yeah.
we've seen it like when their embargoes are long as fuck because like for good reason and when they're short and what that typically spells.
Or when they're short for because it's like they like Infinity War. I think
We saw that many weeks in advance.
I did
We
see,
saw that
yeah,
many
because I was
weeks in
quiet
advance.
for a minute on Infinity War. I was.
That was a very particular
Endgame
screening,
was very short. The Endgame was like 2 days before that movie came out.
but that could be
They
the one we were at.
Yeah, true. But most people hadn't seen Endgame. Endgame, because they did the premiere, it was very short because they knew they didn't want the spoilers getting out. That was more they just didn't want getting out. But this, I don't know about. This don't feel like this the spoiler movie. This feels like Captain Marvel trying to just Captain Marvel,
Yeah, and then they talk about things like virtual, the effects and animation and shits being fucked up, and then the part, like I said, there were some
the
merits,
shit. There was
truth
some
in the
fucked up shit in
article.
this Loki episode. There was some whack looking shit.
And well,
I mean, the string linguini was great, but like when he was on the beach with Casey, I'm like, oof.
mm,
Ooh, this is like, ugh. I got a question for you though. Do you think that Jonathan Majors can return in the court of public opinion?
um,
Because it feels like fuck this dude is pretty much the feeling like,
well, I
and
actually don't.
everything he does just
But
laughed at.
does it really feel that way? Like, and you said in the court of public opinion, like the fire was high when everything first broke, right? This was the
It
summertime,
still
right?
feels pretty. It still
Is
feels.
it? Is it though? Because then now you have a lot of the naysayers that they're talking about
Yeah,
all the stuff that's happened with his ex-girlfriend and
yeah,
all this. You have all these people. So I'm just
yeah,
like, I don't know. There's a lot of cloudiness here for me. I don't feel as
yeah. You're right.
I don't feel for me. I don't feel like it's as strong as it was a few months back when people was just like, hell no. Now I
And
feel like people are like, well, like I feel like people are being iffy right now.
I think you're right, and I think it's also that like we live in that world, like the whole recast T'Challa thing, where it's like it seemed to be loud, but in reality, Wakanda Forever makes $1 billion damn near. It's not that loud.
I don't know, but what his future looks like, I have no clue.
Yeah, that's
I
what I
have
mean.
no clue.
I think if they come back with the banger, people are still gonna be, down for him. But will they
Like
come
down
back
from
with
like
the
in a good
banger?
way, like, or you
Yeah,
mean?
down for him in a good way.
Oh,
But like that's the thing, like they dropped his other movie from the schedule,
I mean, his own representation dropped him. Mad people dropped him, and his
dropped it.
own camp dropped him because there was apparently some veracity to the things that were being said
Yeah.
and explained about his behavior.
Yeah, because one of them
And Marvel knew.
Yeah, and I didn't notice, but they said that one of his agencies dropped him before the arrest even happened.
Yes, and that's what I'm
because they were
alluding
like
to.
he was just a wild boy in general.
And that's what I'm alluding to the
And
fact
I
that
keep
Marvel
hearing
knew.
that. Yeah,
Marvel
I keep hearing. I've heard, because that was the tweets came out when the shit first happened, and people who knew him was like, "Oh, I always knew he was a wild boy." And then someone shut them tweets down real quick. Marvel probably, but it was like the word was out on the street that he was always a wild boy. I mean, most of these people ain't shit. That goes without saying.
I have just like I don't know what's about to happen in this season or series finale. I don't know of Loki. I just have no idea where Marvel is headed right now. They're going to be fine. Billions of dollars doesn't just evaporate into thin air, right?
And they've got 75,
Hopefully.
80 years of history of comics to pull on. Like it's ridiculous. And for someone like me, like with the X-Men, I'm super hyped for it. But at the same time, it doesn't matter to me as much because it's like, yeah, that'll be dope. And however they do it, it'll be dope. But I'm a comic head, and there's so much dope shit going on in the X-Men and the comics right now. I hope they would do the Krakoa era type stuff. But if they don't, I still got the comics. So it's like, they're going to be fine. Because either way, I'm going to go see the X-Men shit.
Yeah.
Whether or not they could do Krakoa.
And that I did like the superhero industry, if you want to even call that, it's not going anywhere.
No.
I'm excited to see what James Gunn is doing with DC and like
man.
Yeah.
That man, I mean, he did it with Guardians of the Galaxy, like, and he's talking about, All-Star Superman being one of his inspirations for Superman Legacy. So he got my money right there. And then we've got, Beyond the Spider-Verse, coming out like
right.
Invincible season 2. We've seen the first few episodes of that. It's great.
Yeah. Make sure you go to YouTube, our YouTube for ForAllNerds TV because we have a quick hit of me talking with Robert Kirkman, creator, talking with Simon, and I don't want to mispronounce his last name, but talking with Simon, the showrunner, the executive producer of the show. So there's a lot. There's a lot coming down the pipeline. So
it's not. They just
a lot of good things. That's
a lot
already,
of good things.
Yeah. So
they say they got Michael Green working on Blade. That's my boy. See how that works out. I mean, he did Logan. Some of the best superhero shit came from Michael. So he might bring that Logan touch to this one.
I'm scared though because like I said, all this hemming and hawing, that might be like Mahershala might be over that shit.
I mean, at the same time, as much as I love Mahershala, they can get another Blade.
Yeah, of course, but I'm just still saying I like Mahershala. So
I do too, but Mahershala probably wasn't the best choice for Blade in the first place. To be dead ass.
Oh, so that wasn't your fan cast. Who was your fan cast?
I don't know. It'd be somebody younger and unknown, somebody who can really whoop ass. I need another Wesley. I need somebody who can whoop ass, like a trained martial artist. Someone who's like really doing that shit. Not someone who's going to step in and be like, train me to be this. I need someone who can do it, really. If you really want to do Blade the way I want to see it. Or I need someone, I think Mahershala can pull this off, but I'm not sure they were going to go that route, is to bring the horror, the
horror
of Blade.
I think he could do the physicality. I don't have any questions about. I think he can do it.
He's in shape. Yeah, it's cuts and everything. It's not like people are really fighting out there. And I think he could bring the horror. So he wasn't my choice, but when they cast him, I'm like, oh shit, that's a great get. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. But it wasn't like, I wasn't thinking Mahershala's Blade. That was, I was thinking a million other people he could be. Mahershala can be anybody. He's a great actor. So
this is true.
And Blade to me is like, unless you really gonna do some ill shit, I don't feel like you need
why are you
that
bringing
great
it back?
actor. Yeah, no, not that. Bring him back, but you just don't need a great actor. Wesley's a great actor in his right.
What you trying to say, Benhameen?
No, I guess you're
say
right.
it. Say it. Speak plainly, sir. What are you trying to say?
No, Wesley's a great actor. I don't think Blade is that deep a role as written in the first 3 films. Okay. I think Wesley put his all into it and made that. And I think you need a great actor, or at least somebody who commits to that. You know, because you might not even need a great actor. Because it's like someone like Arnold, who isn't traditionally a great actor, was perfect for the role of the Terminator, where it was, especially, and that's early, where he's not great acting, but it just fit him. Keanu is not a great actor to me, but Neo fits him like a glove.
It does fit him.
You know, Bill and Ted fits him like a glove. David Duchovny is another one. David Duchovny said this about himself. He's like, I'm a one-note actor, but I play that note very well. You know, and that's like, and he does. The X-Files, you know, that other one, Californication. Like, he can, you know, certain roles that are for him. And he's like, when I step outside that lane, it don't work.
It don't.
So,
right.
Yeah.
He knows himself.
Yeah, so it's like, it could be somebody who's a great actor who's committed, or it could be somebody who's not even a great actor, but they just fit Blade, you know? And so I don't think Blade is that thing where you need Mahershala. You know what I mean? Like,
Mahershala.
Come on, this man is a great actor. You know, this is Moonlight. This man can act. Like, you know.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair.
Yeah. Like Jonathan Major. I mean, like, they've given Jonathan a lot to do with He Who Remains and with Timely now. You know, I don't think they give Blade all that. You know, Blade is more chopping heads off and, you know, like, one-liners. Like,
yeah,
you know, there ain't much to do there. Like, you know, that's the fuck thing. Kang is really giving this, you know, he 3 different roles he's had so far. Because, you know, all 3 of these interpretations have been different interpretations.
As they should be. You literally playing unlimited manifestations of a character.
Unlimited power!
Hey, what's up, internets and the fan fam? This is Tatiana King for ForAllNerds, and I want to thank you so much for listening and watching to ForAllNerds. Make sure you like and subscribe to us only on YouTube.